It's been a really torrid few weeks for the Prime Minister, Partygate, and it doesn't really seem to get much better. You see, it's not just the sheer number of parties that were held in and around Downing Street and indeed in Central Office too. And that's a problem, of course, because lawmakers cannot, absolutely cannot be seen to be lawbreakers. But it goes wider than that. It's a feeling that at all times the Prime Minister just simply hasn't level with us. There are many out there that think he simply hasn't told the truth. I've never seen the word lie associated with a serving Prime Minister as much as I have with Boris Johnson over the course of the last few weeks. And now there are 6 Tory MPs openly calling on him to resign. The Sutton Coldfield Conservative Association met and 10-0 they voted the Prime Minister ought to go. All of this may be about to get just a little bit worse because Dominic Cummings has put out a fresh piece of information tonight saying that Boris knew about the party, was invited to the party, accepted he'd go to the party, and Dominic Cummings claims Boris Johnson lied to the House of Commons. If any of that is stood up by the Sue Gray report, then the Prime Minister would be in very real trouble. We'll talk in half an hour or so to Andrew Bridgen, one of those 6 MPs calling on the PM to resign. We'll ask him for his reasoning. But over the weekend, Boris Johnson has rediscovered his inner Conservative. Yes, absolutely. He's rediscovered the things that actually got him elected with an 80-seat majority. So we're not hearing the Liberal Greenie Boris. No, we're hearing the Conservative Boris. We're told over the weekend that the BBC licence fee will be frozen for 2 years and that from 2027 there'll be a completely new, different funding model. Levelling Up is back on the agenda. Expect some really huge announcements about money that'll get poured into the north of England in particular. But the big one, and there it is, it's on the front page of a Time. PM calls in military to stem flow of migrants. Yes, he's called in the Royal Navy because Britannia rule the waves and that will stop everything. Now, this idea is very, very popular. Opinion polling of all voters shows 71% approve of the Royal Navy being sent in to deal with the Channel crisis. But there's a problem here. You see, all the Royal Navy can do, and they'll basically replace Border Force, they can patrol up and down the line 12 miles from the Kent and Sussex coast, but they can't go any further than that without French permission to go into their waters. And what are they going to do? Are they going to turn the boats around? Well, physically, to do that with rubber dinghies is impractical, frankly, pretty much impossible. Are they going to scoop up the migrants and take them back to France? Well, to begin with, we don't have a returns policy in place, so the French wouldn't want them. And if the Royal Navy were just to do it, well, it would cause a diplomatic incident. Now, I think in the end, it's the solution, but there's no way these are the terms of engagement for the Royal Navy. So all you're really doing is you are replacing one taxpayer-funded taxi service, which is what Border Force have been, and replacing them with the Royal Navy. Yes, the Royal Navy will take the migrants on board, deposit them in Dover, and then we're told there's a strong possibility they could be flown off to Rwanda or Ghana for offshore processing. You will not see that happen in a month of Sundays. I can't even imagine the human rights lawyers rubbing their hands with glee at the moment as court case after court case would prevent people being flown to those countries. And even if they were, it would cost an absolute fortune, and before you know it, there'd be reports about bad things happening in the camp, bad health, bad food, people being predated upon. None of it's going to happen. So I put it to you, whatever the newspapers may say, however big the story is about the Royal Navy going into the English Channel, it makes no difference. And actually, in terms of the crisis, things got worse over this weekend. We learnt on Friday, late, that those that come into this country across the Channel and through other routes and are waiting for their asylum claims to be processed can now, after a year of being in the country, work legally. not join the black market, but work legally by going into the care home sector. There is a big shortage of staff in the care home sector because something like 30 to 40,000 people have left the care homes as a result of not being vaccinated, and they're gone. Now, the Migration Advisory Service that proposed this to the government says actually it should be reduced to 6 months. No need for a visa, none whatsoever. Just illegally cross the channel, come into Britain, and you will be able to find work. So the net effect of this weekend on a trade that saw over 28,000 people come to the UK last year, the net effect of the weekend is there are even bigger incentives for people to come, not fewer. That's all part of Operation Red Meat. I'm asking you, the audience question, will Operation Red Meat save Boris Johnson's career?